feel like you're just getting a bigger bang for your buck when you're paying for influencers rather than paid. Or
in B2B, the average CPM is much higher than the B2C CPM, because again, in B2C you might be selling a $20 item. In B2B, you're selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of software, so they're willing to spend more on an ad campaign.
Influencer marketing has come out and it's showing to deliver results, and it is not oversaturated compared to the other channels. Therefore, I think it has extremely high potential.
welcome everybody to the EventShark TV Podcast. We got Ding Zhang in the house, and we also got a special guest, first guest ever on EventShark TV Podcast. We got Vin Matano, founder, CEO, CMO, CFO, every role at Creator Buzz. What's up, man?
That's right, dude. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be the first guest ever on EventShark TV.
Boom. Let's get into it.
That's right. That's right. What are we covering today? I'm the one that did the outline, so I'll tell you guys. We're going to be covering influencer marketing in B2B, why it's this popping spot right now, and also the LinkedIn creator economy. The creator economy has been a big thing on YouTube and D2C and B2C, but now creator economy is coming to LinkedIn, and we're going to cover all of that stuff. So Vin runs Creator Buzz, which is a B2B influencer marketing business, primarily on LinkedIn. But Vin, why don't you just tell us quickly about what you guys do over at Creator Buzz?
Yeah, man. So Creator Buzz is a B2B influencer marketing agency. So we work primarily with B2B SaaS brands, helping them build, manage, stand up their influencer programs.
And what do you guys mostly, doing that? What kind of companies are you working with? And maybe also tell me what B2B influencer marketing looks like. Because I think when people think about influencer marketing, they're thinking fashion bloggers, they're thinking sports partnerships, but B2B marketing, B2B influencer marketing has been starting to pop off a little bit in B2B.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, influencer marketing obviously has been around for like a really long time. And you can think of someone like promoting like a physical product. Like if I wanted to sell this ring, like I could show it on video, I could try it on, and it's very easy for the person watching it to purchase this ring. It's $50, you put your credit card in and you buy it. B2B, it's a lot different because the thing that you're promoting or selling is a non-tangible product. It's software. It's something that you can't look, feel, and show on camera. The other challenging part too is like buying B2B software is not as easy as putting your credit card in. You can't buy like 6 figures worth of Salesforce with your credit card. You need to talk to salespeople. You need to go through a sales cycle. It's a really, really big decision. So
don't let your dreams be dreams. Buyers, do the right thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Make the call solo.
Yeah.
fuck your procurement procedure.
There's a lot of procurement procedures. So like in B2B, it's very different. So influencer marketing, to answer your question, is in B2B is a lot different. You're working basically with either thought leaders or subject matter experts or people that are just in a particular space that can talk about the software that you're trying to sell or promote.
Boom, that was spot on. So Vin, I got a question for you. What are the biggest misconceptions about influencer marketing in B2B?
In B2B, I think one of the ones that comes up a lot in calls actually is that like all the influencers that need to be part of programs need to be customers. I don't think that's the case. I think it helps if there's customers part of your program. I don't think that's the case though. I think as long as they have experienced the challenges that your product solves, I think that's just like the biggest connection point. So I don't think they need to be like customers to use your tool. I think they need to be introduced to your product and see the value in it and be able to talk about it in order for it to have a successful campaign.
Yeah, I think zooming out a bit, there's a lot of conversation right now about the difference between subject matter experts and influencers in B2B. How do you look at that?
I think it's a little bit overused, to be quite honest with you. I think in B2B, most people are subject matter experts. There's a reason why people call B2B influencers knowledge creators. That's another like term for them that's getting more popular now. In the consumer space, you have that distinction because in the consumer space, maybe you have a lifestyle influencer that just like shares their lifestyle. It's like, I don't know, Alex Earl. Like you're not really learning much from Alex Earl. But then there's also like knowledge-based creators that are sharing value, and they might be a subject matter expert on a certain topic. So to answer your question, I think in B2B, it's really less of a distinction. They're kind of one and the same.
This is interesting. It's the three of us sitting here right now, right? I think in B2C or non-B2B elements, for you to be, I break it down into 3 buckets. So you have your subject matter experts, which require deep domain-specific technical knowledge. Then you have your influencers, which is purely determined based on following and audience size, right? And then you have your creator entertainers, which is the folks with a specialized creative skill set. And where I think in B2B, we see a lot of over representation of the first two, right? A lot of subject matter experts, a lot of influencers with the platform. And there's a much smaller, but I think the highest ceiling subsegment is the entertainer creator, right? And I see yourself, Vin, Jake, because you guys, right? I've seen all your videos from back in the day, middle school, high school, right? I think the latter part is not something that you inherently learn in B2B. If you're in B2B sales or marketing, you're not necessarily historically going to have the entertainment creator, video creator skill set, right? And but that's where I see the highest potential going right now. I'm a little biased because that's basically all I do.
That's a great point. I think someone like Todd Closer, I think it might be pronounced his last name wrong. He is an incredible creative creator, and you could kind of put him in on almost any campaign, and it works. Yeah, there's not as many of those folks out there right now, and so there's a big opportunity of anyone listening to this that is a creative that is able to create creative content in the B2B space. There's a really big opportunity for you because there's not many creators to choose from. I would say there's more subject matter experts to choose from versus the people that are creating skits or parodies or concepts or episodes.
Yeah, and then I think you touched on a very important point here, is that someone like Todd or like an Obed Durrani they have the entertainer creator creative skills, but they're also subject matter experts with deep domain knowledge. And I think that it's going to be hard and that's the moat in B2B, right? It's going to be hard for a large TikToker that is good at making videos but doesn't necessarily understand the nuance of the B2B side to come in and have an immediate impact. There's going to be some type of context learning that has to happen.
The other challenge that a TikToker might have with trying to come over to LinkedIn is creating followers that are in a particular niche. Like in B2C, the niches are important, but they're not that important, right? If you're selling for example, if you're selling AG1, athletic greens, the niches are kind of important, but kind of anyone can buy it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas if you're selling B2B SaaS software, we work with a company that sells tools for RevOps folks. Yep. They don't want to even they don't even want marketers promoting their product because literally only RevOps people use our tool. Yeah. So you have to go ultra niche in B2B. And that's even something that's controversial too, is how niche do you go? But I think in B2B it's crucial in my opinion.
So you mean to say on LinkedIn, not every influencer is going to be repping NordVPN and Ridge wallets?
There are some more basic ones that are PLG or consumer products, let's just say Grammarly. We all can sign up for our own Grammarly account under Ding, under Jake, under Vin. The ones where you need to be really, really niche is the enterprise model, where it's your company needs to purchase this tool.
Yeah, I've seen you work with Fiverr, and that can be applied to really anyone, I guess, that owns a business or might be hiring contractors, but it's a little bit more open than just a single software.
Yeah, well, I think also too, people are using B2B influencers very too broadly nowadays. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Fiverr, the regular Fiverr platform is not B2B. I mean, it's us using Fiverr, or Notion. It's I have Notion account under Vin Matano. It's not they have a B2B offering for sure, but Notion, Grammarly, these are all consumer technologies. It's not B2B. B2B is when we're trying to convince a company to make a purchase decision, and there may not be a way for you to sign up for the tool. You can't sign up for Salesforce today under your under a company name. You have to get integrated. You have to go through procurement, all that fun stuff. So I think people confuse knowledge-based creators with B2B, and there's a small distinction.
Gotcha. And I want to go back to kind of what Ding was saying about creators or people that want to create content, because it might be kind of intimidating to also be creating content on LinkedIn. So what advice do you have for someone that might be wanting to get into doing brand deals, or I'm sure a lot of people listening maybe have a full-time job but want to maybe be creating content or want to maybe work with another company? What's your thoughts on that?
The question is what's my advice for someone to get started with creating content?
Yeah.
I would say, I think one of the things people are worried most about, especially on LinkedIn, is do I have enough expertise to talk about this topic? Because it's so public facing, I can go, you make a post, I can go on your LinkedIn page right now and see if you're credible. And I think that holds a lot of people back that are freshly into their career. My advice and my take on that is everyone has something to share. The new grad coming into the workforce has a ton to teach the person that's been in the workforce for 30 years, and vice versa. And so my recommendation is like just to share what you're going through. Don't come off as like you need to listen to me and do exactly as I do, but it's more so saying like, here's what I experienced and here's what I learned from that experience. And just sharing that process is very valuable. To get started, I would just say just post. That's the easiest advice. Once you get comfortable with that, then that advice probably is no longer good. You want to maybe be more intentional about your posts and take some time for that. But in order to get started, I would say share your experiences, your learnings, and just share what you're going through.
Yeah, and I was also kind of like, if someone has like a full-time job and they want to do a brand deal on the side, are they working with their company? Are they getting approved with their managers? How do you usually see that? So
it's actually a bit tricky. If I would say most companies, there's no like legal binding thing. At least I've worked with that. Like you can't not do a brand deal. However, we do work with a few creators that work at some enterprise companies that actually do require any and all like side hustle things that have to be approved by their legal team. Right. So for example, like we work with a creator that works out at ZoomInfo.
Yeah.
And he needs to get the brand deal approved from ZoomInfo. So that's a bit tricky. Sometimes that prevents us from moving quickly on a creator. But it's something that unfortunately you need to do. And then also what helps as well, if you work at a big company, promising to say, hey, this is my personal opinion. This is not the opinion of my employer, as a disclaimer. That's what the one creator that we work with does.
Yeah. I just see people might be intimidated that's one of the main things holding people back from just even posting on LinkedIn in general is that they have an employer. They want to be careful about what they say with their teammates and things like that. So I think it's just a reason maybe why a lot of people aren't posting on LinkedIn as well, is because they are intimidated to do that.
LinkedIn's the most intimidating platform to start posting on out of all social media platforms.
Totally.
I'm trying to think, like, is LinkedIn the most intimidating platform?
I think so.
Yeah, well, you have your professional image attached to it, right? And I think a lot of people you work with will see it. So I think from that standpoint, it's intimidating.
It's so intimidating because, if you post to TikTok, where does that post go?
Yeah.
Like even the people I follow, I never see their content.
Yep.
So it's like you post. I feel very comfortable. TikTok is like my experimentation platform. I'll just post anything on TikTok because I'm like, I don't know who's gonna see this. It goes to random people. Instagram, I feel a little intimidated to post sometimes too because I'm like, oh, it's everyone from home. But LinkedIn is like, my boss follows me. Yeah. Our CEO follows me. So I can see how that is a little intimidating for someone just getting started with content.
What's your guys' thoughts on the LinkedIn creator economy?
Okay, well, so LinkedIn creator economy, I think you have to zoom out and look at it from a macro standpoint of go-to-market. Historically, you were selling mostly through phone and mostly through email, and then with a little bit of in-person event presence, right? Nowadays, all three of those channels are really difficult compared to what it used to be. So influencer marketing has come out and it's showing to deliver results, and it is not oversaturated compared to the other channels. Therefore, I think it has extremely high potential.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think it's also a timing thing as well. So influencer marketing B2B actually has been around for a while. It's just in different formats. Like you might work with someone like, you guys know like a Jay Bear. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
He's a very like...
DB used to do a lot of influencer marketing, but it was like...
Ding. He's like this like... He's like a guy that's been around the space for a while, and he's like a safe guy that you would use for like your SKO.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? So like I say influencer marketing in the past, I don't know if you agree with this as well, it might be like working with some analyst that works at Forrester and you want him to speak at your event or conference. I think that's the most common use back then.
It was only the A-listers was the older influencer. Now companies can experiment now with the B or C tier talent.
Oh, exactly that. So that's exactly what I'm saying. So like with the rise of LinkedIn, it's created a lot of different platforms for a lot of small creators that have niches, which is important. Yep. And so the timing was just really, really well. I think the change in go-to-market was like more and more companies are spending more and more on ad dollars. They're seeing less results. The conversion rates are going down. Buyers want to shop anonymously. I mean, we both have sales backgrounds. Sales pipeline is like every company's struggling with sales pipeline right now. And the buyers want to move to buying in communities, in forums, their friends, thought leaders, people they know and like. So like that trend with also the rise of LinkedIn is the perfect potion for B2B influencer marketing.
Yeah.
And the LinkedIn creator economy.
I have one additional thing is I think that the average person's content viewing has gone up significantly over the past 10 years, right? Is in the, I think the previous meta is, also to Jake's point, we didn't see a lot of individual contributor level influencers back then, right? It's pretty much you run a training organization or you're a consultant. So we have like the Barrowses, Dunlaps, and whatnot on the sales side.
Creator economy starting to pop off with B and C tier talent.
Yeah, or I wouldn't call him B and C talent. I would just say like,
apologize anyway.
No shade.
No, I don't want.
I'm a C-lister over here.
Yeah, I don't want to
I'm
make
not
it.
I'm calling myself that.
I would just say like you have your nano, your micro, your macro creators. I would say that's probably a better explanation of it.
Yeah. So, and we were just chopping it up over the weekend, and you've been seeing a lot of success over campaigns that you've been running. What are some B2B influencer campaigns that we're just crushing, and why is this working so well right now?
Yeah, I think one of the cool things too is like going back to timing, like LinkedIn having this new video feed. We're really benefiting from it as a company because the creators that are leveraging video are seeing really, really great results. And so some of the companies that we work really well with, they kind of have this full funnel strategy. And going back to the SME part, I think that's part of their strategy too. So they have, the top of the funnel is more of those creatives. Like, we work with like Tom Boston, for example, or like Todd, and they do such incredible content, or Will Aiken. And they're really good at like generating lots of impressions. In 1 month, we generated like 750,000 impressions off of like, I think 4 creators or 5 creators. And so it's working really well for top of funnel. And then we have our SMEs that are not really doing video or skits, but they're sharing really tactical things of like, hey, here's how I use this particular product to do X, Y, and Z. And those are helping more with the bottom funnel conversions. So we're seeing that as a really, really, really strong strategy that I'm trying to pitch to a lot of my brands is like find those top of funnel creators that can like really get you that reach on video, and then find those like really, really niche people in your industry that maybe don't have like a huge follower count, but like they're the person in that industry, in that niche, to create that more SME style content.
Vin was organizing the campaign for Storylane, and you did a bunch of campaigns with them. And like Will had a car skit. He was at the dealership and he was doing a skit, and you kind of worked with him on that process. So I think that was a good mix of using creativity, being a creator first, but also, and that was like a great brand awareness play where that got over 1,000. I think over 1,000 likes. You said.
I think it's somewhere around 1,000 likes. Yeah. So like, and then we work with some other folks too. Then and the creators, honestly, like we give them a brief and stuff, but those creative creators, like you were talking about earlier, Ding, like they really run with their ideas. Like they come up with all that stuff. I don't want to take credit for that at all. Like Will came up with that concept. We're just kind of more behind the scenes and like making sure he's talking about Storylane and stuff like that. But yeah, Will came up with that and it's doing really well. So we're trying to replicate that.
Yeah. I feel like you're just getting a bigger bang for your buck when you're paying for influencers rather than paid. Or
in B2B, the average CPM is much higher than the B2C CPM. Because again, in B2C, you might be selling a $20 item. In B2B, you're selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of software. So they're willing to spend more on an ad campaign. For one of our clients, I did the math. I think we were getting them like an $8 CPM. Which is like really, really good in B2B. So like, yes, so compared to like your cost per advertising, way more inexpensive to do an influencer marketing campaign today. That may change in the future as it gets more competitive. But like today, in terms of like stretching your dollars, influencer marketing is way more affordable.
Yeah. For reference, I think the average CPM on LinkedIn is between $24 and $32. So an $8 rate.
It's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. And it's not an ad, or if it's not, it doesn't feel like an ad.
Right. It doesn't feel like
it feels like way more natural in the feed that you're seeing someone that you already like. Yeah. Talking happily about a product or talking creatively about a product.
Yeah. And I want to shout this out for the paid side as well, right? Is in the B2C space, we see a lot of UGC content. And I think that's something that we're seeing start happening more on the B2B side, is that rather than have a dedicated testimonial motion, right, with customers, shoot dates, etc. We're starting to see some brands do testimonial lookalike content with subject matter experts, that most of the time are customers as well, but as part of an influencer campaign, and then you can repurpose those assets to run paid behind that. So I think an influencer organic content marketing motion can also inform paid strategies, which is really interesting.
Yeah, well, there's a really interesting stat that I wish I have off the top of my head, but I don't have the number. But there's a really interesting stat around the performance of your paid efforts in relation to your brand's awareness. So the brands that are generating lots of awareness through potentially influencer marketing, they're going to see way better results on their advertising because they have that brand recognition. And the other thing, Ding, too, that is kind of what in relation to what you had said is the thought leader ads, if you're familiar with those.
Yep.
So like for the listeners that may not know, the thought leader ads are basically if I make a post about EventShark, you can run my post, Vin Matano's post, as an ad for EventShark. which again, it kind of plays into that UGC strategy where it's like it's coming from someone that you know and trust versus coming from the brand page.
Yeah, that's a new feature that LinkedIn rolled out.
Yeah.
Within the last few months, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like that. It's a recent one.
Mm-hmm. And it also really works well with like founder-led content. I've seen a lot of companies do that where like their founders is creating, you know, really valuable content, and then organically it does well, then they'll just run it as an ad afterwards.
Yeah. What's great about that format is LinkedIn ads historically on the sidebar, right? Banner ads, stickers, etc. And the influencer thought leadership ads are actually in the feed along with other posts. They look like other posts. There's a little sponsored blurb at the top, but it's not super obvious. Right.
Dude, you know what I actually saw recently that I thought was really interesting? So I've been seeing a ton of these ads for Intuit. Have you seen these on LinkedIn?
Intuit. Like for QuickBooks?
For QuickBooks, have you seen these ads?
I have.
Okay, so have you seen these ads?
I haven't seen these ads.
I just noticed this the other day. I don't know if this is like they've been doing this for a while, but I literally just noticed this the other day. So I've been seeing a lot of these QuickBook ads, and I'm like, what the hell? So I click into the person. They're running thought leader ads on influencer videos, but I click the page of the person posting it, and like they are barely active on LinkedIn. So what they're doing, I like did some research. What they're doing is they're finding creators that are running businesses because they're ICP as small business owners that are maybe active on other platforms like YouTube or Instagram. So this creator knows how to make videos. They have the creator create the video, post it on their LinkedIn, even though they might have 400 followers, literally, like they don't use LinkedIn at all. But they just run that post as an ad. And I thought that was really smart, actually. And it's an easy way, earlier to what we had said, to get like new creators on the platform. So like, you know, if you're a creator that talks about tech, but you're not on LinkedIn, like Marquise, right? Let's just say he's not on LinkedIn, but he can create a really good video. You can have him create that, have him post it on his LinkedIn, and then you just run it as an ad. I thought that was a really cool strategy.
Well, and what's interesting is that people will still have brand recognition of Marquise.
Exactly.
Or because people aren't just on LinkedIn or just on one platform. People are on all these different platforms doing their research, just watching videos for fun. So if you see someone recognizable, maybe they don't have a huge LinkedIn, but you'll recognize that face. So I think it's a really interesting way to utilize that.
I think it's so cool. I don't know. I still don't know enough about like the paid space because I've never ran ads before, but I would love to start like pitching my clients on that, but I just don't know enough about it. But I just thought it was something really interesting to take note of.
Yeah. This makes me think of a question. So we'll go around and do this, but what's your weirdest LinkedIn connection?
Oh, I have a good answer for this.
Okay.
I actually have a really good answer for this. Ron Artest.
Ron Artest. Dude, the NBA players are active.
Yeah.
For me, it's Greg Oden.
Oh, that's sick.
Dude, we got Meta World Peace on LinkedIn.
Meta World Peace?
Yeah.
Yo, so you want to know something funny? So he like randomly came onto LinkedIn like after he retired. This was like 2018, 2019, something like that. And he was trying to like create this app. I don't remember what it was. He was trying to create this app. And he needed like beta users or like people to test it. So I was like, yo, I'll do it. I'll sign up. It didn't go anywhere. But then I started DMing him. And at the time, I had like a podcast that I started in college. And I was Project Growth. And I was trying to get him on. And he answered me and said yes. And then and he never scheduled it though. He did. I literally have the DM. I'll show you guys. He answered me and said, yeah, I'm down. And we never got it scheduled. I was like, I'm going to have Meta World Peace on the podcast. Like I was bugging out. Do you have any cool LinkedIn connections?
I don't think I have any cool LinkedIn.
Right,
I'm blanking on it.
Fair enough.
I don't have any.
Greg Oden.
I'm still waiting for Kevin Durant to accept my connection request. Hey, D, I know your team's out there posting for every day.
Also, I want to call out Snoop Dogg.
Ooh.
I don't think that's you on LinkedIn. I know it's someone. It's someone on his team. He's not on LinkedIn.
Nah, dude, that's Snoop Lion on LinkedIn.
I don't like it. I'm not a fan. You know what else I saw too? Speaking of really, we actually didn't speak of bad campaigns, but I'm just going to bring up bad campaigns. I don't remember what brand actually ran this. I have to look, but they were working with, is it Damon John from Shark Tank? Oh my God, the worst. Also, that's just a really poor example of influencer marketing in my opinion. He's way too broad.
Yeah.
And I forget which company was running an ad, but they ran an ad. He basically, you can tell he was, the camera is this close to his face. Yeah. You could tell he's reading a script. His eyes are going like this. And then they just uploaded it and ran it as an ad. What a waste of influencer budget. I mean, I'm sure he's not cheap.
Yeah, maybe they just got him on Cameo or something.
No, it was. Yeah, I have to. I literally commented.
Looks like he was in studio.
I actually commented on it, and I was like, "This is the worst influencer campaign."
Yeah. I think that's just good advice. Just don't script your creatives or influencers. Give them maybe a brief and then let them tell them their own.
Well, to be fair, he probably, because he's so big, he gets his requests. He probably says, "Hey, I actually cost this much," and it's probably astronomical. And he said, "You also just give me the script and I'll just read it." Like he's doing the bare minimum on a guy like that. Yeah. Whereas if you work with a micro creator, It's just, I think the ROI is just way better.
They just want to go harder for you.
They want to go harder. They have original ideas. Their audience is like super dialed into your niche, and they're more affordable, way more affordable.
It's just more work to find those micro creators. And that will go into my next question. You're a marketer, you just got hired, and you need to launch the influencer marketing program. What is your first step?
I always recommend, whenever I meet with marketers that are interested in doing influencer marketing, I always recommend just to start really small. I actually don't think it's that needed to work with an agency like us to just get started. I actually literally had a call this morning that I was encouraging them, like, just get started on your own. Like, you can reach out to 1, 2, 3 creators that you might know of, that you see on your feed all the time, and you can develop a relationship with them. Just start testing it out. Say, hey, we really would love to work with you the long term, but we've never done this before. So we would love to start testing the waters out with you. Start looking into your customer base, like have them create some content. Your customers are going to be the easiest people to talk about it. Some of them, I'm not encouraging this, but some of them may even just do it for free. They're like, yo, I love your tool, and like, I would love a free access of the tool. Like, same thing with clothing. There's some companies that I just love their clothing that I would just like, if you sent me some free clothes, I'll make a post for you. You know what I mean? So to get started, I would recommend doing some of that.
Then you're a drippy fellow.
Thank you.
What are the brands at the moment? Let's shout out some brands and see if we can get some shit.
My favorite brands at the moment right now. Let's see. I really like. I was telling Jake about this. This brand called Cole Buxton.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
They're like a luxury streetwear brand out of the UK, and then they also have a fitness spinoff called UVU.
Yeah.
This is getting very popular.
Dude, you're all over the British streetwear. Because I remember you're fucking with District Vision a while back.
Or Represent.
Yeah, Represent.
Yeah, and they Represent, and they also have a spin-off brand too. So I like those brands. Abercrombie's good for just like everyday stuff. These are Abercrombie jeans. Yeah.
Dude, the comeback, Abercrombie.
They made
Who would have thought?
Massive comeback.
Yeah.
Massive comeback. I get a lot of my denim there actually, which is like they just have a lot of options.
Yeah, I'll just quickly throw out Arc'teryx Valence, Sunspell,
Arc'teryx,
Bruno, whatever the fuck last name. Sponsor us.
What's your? Can you give me a recommendation on? Your top recommendation on just a crisp white tea.
Crisp white tea.
I know you're
Mersby Schwanen.
How do you spell that?
Just if you look up Mers. So have you ever seen the show, the HBO? Or is it HBO? The Bear?
Of course.
Yeah. So he has two brands. One is the Mersby Schwanen. I think it's the 215, and the other one is the Whitesville T-shirt. And then I like the there's a Outlier New Earth Cotton is pretty good, and then 316 does a heavyweight. That's pretty solid.
I like a nice crisp white tea. Yeah. Personally,
it's hard to find a good one. So
I still have your Hanes beefy tees.
Yeah, those don't get the job done.
You know,
sorry, Hanes.
What's a basic answer for a plain heavyweight tee? The Uniqlo Aerism.
Yeah, Aerism's good. Oh, Asket. That's the other one.
Oh, Asket. Okay, never heard of that one.
Yeah, that one's a little more budget friendly as well. I think that one's around $50. Like most of the brands I mentioned, those run you 150, 200.
You know what we all talk about maybe off camera too? Are you into Japanese denim?
Oh, I got a pair of Samurais I'm working on right now.
I'm not that into them yet, but I want to be, so that's why I had to pick your ear off camera about that.
All right, then I'll ask more questions about marketing.
Back to the show.
That's what I'm here for. See, Jake is the one that steers the ship, make sure we're on course. Ding is here to throw in random fucking tangents.
That's all right. Yeah. We need a little bit of
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
That's right. Do you know what the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is?
Isn't it like food, water, and like sex or something?
It's the basic needs of humans. So I think it's safety and shelter is the foundation. Then you have food and like sleep, and then it's like reproductive activities, and then I think it's like art and spirituality at the top. So you can't have anything that's higher up unless your baseline needs are taken care of.
And he's somehow weaved that into about content and B2B marketing somehow in the last episode.
And Japanese denim.
Japanese denim, yeah.
That's the top of the.
So here's influencer marketing as contextualized by Japanese denim, right? So Japanese denim is in a raw loom state format, which means that it's been untreated, unsinged, unshrink beforehand. So as you wear the jeans, the fades and the wear that you get on it are personalized to your body and your lifestyle. That's the same thing with B2B influencer marketing, is when you start out on a campaign, it's a blank slate. And depending on how you construct your strategy will determine the effectiveness and the personality of your campaign.
Personalized efforts.
Boom.
I like it. I'm on board.
All right, Jake, let's get us back on course.
Back to our programming. We've collaborated on events before or collaborated in person. I think this is where Creator Buzz and EventShark have a lot of like opportunity with past events and going forward, or just anyone listening. What's a creative way that influencers are used at events?
Oh, wait. I actually am like very bullish on one thing that I don't see too often right now is influencers being used at B2B events. It's happening. If you go to a lot of trade shows now, like I was at Dreamforce back in September. Corporate Bro was there. I don't know if Corporate Natalie was there, but Corporate Bro was there. They had all the sales creators that were there. Corporate Sween, my friend Ben Sweeney, he was there. So basically what they're doing, and Inbound did the same thing, where they're giving free passes, and they're also financially incentivizing folks to come and create content about the event. CES, another major one in Vegas, a lot of my favorite tech creators were there, and they were contracted with brands. So I think a really, really great way to work with influencers is to utilize them at events. You spend so much money and you invest tons of time and energy to be present at these big conferences. Some companies spend like millions of dollars, like especially at Dreamforce. And the worst thing is you don't want your investment to just end right when the event is done. You want it to have shelf life. And so working with folks like you guys to help create that shelf life through content is really, really valuable. But then also, I think working really closely with an influencer as well to help with that further distribution. I think one of the challenges is, brands invest a lot of money and time into content, and it's really live or die by, the founder or the brand page. But if you combine that with influencer marketing, it helps get additional distribution. And I think like the two strategies just like work really, really well together.
Yeah. And we did that at the demand-based New York event perfectly. One of the best street interview case studies that we had was that you were there and you were seeking out all the other sales creators there to get into that content. And it was smart. You went to the conference with a plan, like I want to get these people in the content, and then posting that on social and getting their distribution as well.
Here's the strategy that we used to generate 2 million impressions at an event. So we basically had a sales... my mind's thinking.
Millions and millions and millions.
We basically had an event for salespeople at Demand Base, and luckily it was in New York, so there's a lot of creators in New York. So we invited a bunch of sales influencers to this happy hour. And when you have creators and influencers and thought leaders in the room, or even customers, like take advantage of that. And so we worked with your team at EventShark, and basically we did street interviews. We came up with 5 questions. We prioritized the sales influencers first, and we asked them the same 5 questions. It was very easy to do. And then we started asking just random people the same 5 questions, and then we chopped it up into 5 videos, 1 video per question. And on Instagram alone, we had 1.8 million impressions. I didn't do the math on the other ones, but TikTok also did really, really well, and LinkedIn did really well as well. I think we had 3 videos both hit 800,000 views on LinkedIn. I don't know what the total count was, but it performed really, really well.
Yeah, that was perfectly executed.
And I want to call one thing out. I think for companies that are thinking about doing influencer in-person activation at events, it's not a bad idea to partner with a vendor on the production side. And the reason for that is the logistical intensity of doing a shoot, and as well as post-production content might be a very high lift for the internal marketing team as well as the influencers themselves. And what I mean by that is the internal team's usually not equipped to run an on-site production and a shoot while they're also managing the influx of attendees and overall managing the event itself, right? And the influencers aren't necessarily versed in editing post-production skill set, right? Like not everyone's a Vin Matano.
No, that's true.
Who's putting out bangers on the daily, right? If you work with, especially the more historically entrenched creators, right, they're generally text post forward, right? And just now going into video. So when you partner with a great vendor on that side, you're reducing that logistical intensity and you're maximizing the output that you can get from a motion.
And if it's content for the brand, you're also like kind of staying in line with your own brand identity or your brand like styles, I guess I don't know if that's right, aesthetic maybe. Or quality, I should say. You stay with your brand quality. Because some creators, like Sarah Uwe, for example, one of my favorite creators, but she does a very raw, it seems like she just picks up her camera and talks, right? And she's really good at that. But your brand, if you wanted to post on your brand page or run as an ad, like maybe you want that high production type of style content. So that's why it's really good to like combine the two.
Yeah. You know how to plug myself, right?
No. It works.
Yeah. And also I like the idea of bringing the influencers or the creators to help, because this is not a new idea, bringing influencers to an event. They've been doing it at Coachella for like 10, 15 years.
Fire Festival?
Fire Festival. It's not a new idea, but just bringing bringing them in and getting that exposure at the event. And also they can post in real time at the event. I think that's important too. Like we're good about doing the post-production, but you can get the people covering the event.
Yeah,
live.
Stories and stuff. I think the problem is though, like the B2B events are just still kind of really bad for the most part. Like I honestly, I've been to like, you guys have been to the most events on the planet. Like that's your whole business. But I've been to a good amount of events myself, and they're just, there's very little good B2B events. And I think one of the cool things that I really enjoy doing actually is because I do create sometimes lifestyle content on places like TikTok and stuff like that. Sometimes I get invited to some of these influencer events for consumer products. Like I went to like a Logitech event I got invited to like a Meta for their new frames event. I got invited to this like this other technology, consumer technology event. And I think they're really cool. They do a really good job of like creating themes and basically creating an environment where the influencer wants to post, because those events, usually the influencers for the more casual events, not the conferences, just like an event, they're usually not paid to show up. They're just invited. And so you really want to create an environment that it's encouraging the creator to like capture the moment. So like, for example, like I went to this Logitech event. They gave everyone free speakers because they were releasing new speakers, everyone that attended. And it was like a passport theme because it was like, oh, you can travel with the speaker. And so there was different stations and they like had experiences and there was like themed cocktails for like travel. And that is just an environment where the creators were just, they want to capture that content. You don't even have to ask them. And that's what's I think kind of missing in B2B.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so transactional. You want people to actually want to be there. So it's exciting opportunity for anyone throwing events. It's wide open right now.
I think Chili Piper's throwing a cool event next month for their users. I'm kind of excited to see how that goes because it's apparently this like really cool resort and they're doing yoga and like horseback riding or something. So I think that's really interesting. And I'm curious to see if more B2B brands will start to do that.
What's the best B2B event you ever went to and why?
It's honestly a really good question. Nothing jumps out to me.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Inbound last year because the homies were out there, you know. But I think that's not a universal experience because we make content. We've been on the scene for 4 or 5 years at this point, so it's, you know, you show up and you know everyone. It's a good time. But if you're just attending as a regular attendee and you don't know anyone, is that the most conducive to a good time?
What about Drive?
Oh yes. Shout out my boy DG. Nah, Drive. I think what made Drive special was what I was just talking about, is that going there, everyone knew everyone. It was a very community-focused event, right? And a lot of folks had known each other beforehand online, never met in person, because that was Exit 5's first in-person event. And I would even say Exit 5's event in Austin was really good for that. There's just a barrier to having a good event on a human level when everyone's a stranger. It's very hard to do cold introductions, let's say, you know, and icebreakers at an event, right? And when people don't know each other, there's that social friction. Historically, the social lubricant was alcohol. Nowadays, a lot of people drink less or don't drink anymore, right? So there's a challenge there.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go to Exit 5 this year, so I'm making that statement. 2025.
Yeah, they didn't. We were talking about over the weekend. Vin wants to come, and
I want to come.
It was, yeah. I think what you said was perfectly said, Ding. Was that there was a community there ahead of time, so people knew each other online, and then that made for a really good event because people were excited to hang out, talk. The event wasn't in a stuffy conference room. I mean, there's opportunities to do a lot of cool stuff. You went to Dreamforce, like there's a lot of fun stuff happening there. But when you get a more intimate event, of community people that are already there, it just makes an overall better event.
And I'll give another shout out. I think this is one that the three of us have all attended. Scott Ingram's Sales Success Summit. Similar thing, right? Where a lot of the attendees are in this tight-knit community. They knew each other beforehand. That one's a little more programming focused because the sellers are getting a lot of value and actionable learnings to go from that.
Pep's events too.
Pep, yep.
Spring was good.
Spring, winter, the CXL events back in the day.
So.
Honestly, I used to be really impressed with the Forrester Summit, and I think it's just because it's been in Austin, and I love Austin. I liked more how brands were doing the activation. So like when I was at Demand Base, one of their most successful events was Forrester, and it wasn't even because they had a booth. And actually, people only buy booths at Forrester because they want to play nice to Forrester. But really, if you could take your budget, and what Demand Base did is basically they rented out the bar next door and created this whole lounge for people to come in and network, charge your phone, get free food. it was like popping. Like we had such great traffic. We had really great meetings. Like that was a really good strategy that I think you can do pretty much at every conference. It's like you don't necessarily have to be a booth at the conference. You just need to be there and create an experience for folks.
Periphery events, plus content, plus influencers.
Yep.
Boom. That's the events playbook 25.
That's the recipe for sure.
That's the recipe. I get so much inspiration though from consumer events though. Like they nail it, especially like any like brands that are more marketed or geared towards women. They do such a great job. Like I watch that stuff all the time. I get so much inspiration, and we're trying to plan some events for some of our clients I was talking to you about, which we'll talk more about off camera. But yeah, I kind of want to have that theme of like, I wanted to feel like a really cool, like B2C type of event.
Yeah. How did those come about? I think for the audience that are B2B folks that are curious about B2C influencer world, influencer space, like how did you get involved in that side?
Well, I think myself, because I create content, I think like I'll get the inbound, like someone will send me emails for them. So that that's probably harder to do. But honestly, it's just about following the right people. Like if you're really interested in fashion, like you're really interested in fashion thing, like you probably follow a bunch of fashion creators, and then if there's any fashion events or new clothing lines, like they're probably invited to that. Just because I see what my fiance watches, like a lot of the brands that are geared towards women, they tend to do it more. Like Hailey Bieber's like makeup brand, she's really popular with women, especially young women nowadays, and like they do really, really cool pop-ups. Like if you're looking for inspiration, like you should go, search them on YouTube and see what they do. But also we just drove past like Bloom, the supplement company. Again, another brand kind of geared towards women, but they're really popular online, and they're having a pop-up here in Austin next week or in literally in 4 days. And I told Jake that he should go check it out just for inspiration, because they do the best jobs by far.
I'll give you a little shout out too, because I think you do a really good job of kind of reaching out to people that you think are doing cool stuff and kind of getting into those communities. So I think that's also just an important skill. You put yourself in situations too. You say you get inbounds to go to cool events, but you also put yourself out there to become in communities where they are doing cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. I think like that's like a lost art now because everything's remote. I think people feel really comfortable just sitting at home, and I fall victim of this too, of just like getting in my routine and not like leaving that. But being able to just go to these events, I'll go to some events and like, lose money on going to these events, or I'll do events and I'll break even. Like for me, I just want to be in the right communities where people think of me first when they hear B2B influencer marketing. Or, I do a lot of like build in public content. I did not invent that by any means, but a lot of people that I see will tag me and stuff, and they'll associate me with build in public content. And I just think that's really, really cool. So reaching out to folks that either support my content, I try to do a really good job at that. Or people that I just admire, I want to just, get introduced to them.
What kind of content are you both really focused in on this year? What are you excited about for creating for yourself?
Spectacle content. So bigger productions, more shooters on site. So that's our moat, right? We have a video company, so we can do more intense and higher production, but also higher ambition projects. Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Stan? Stan Store?
No, I only know the Eminem one.
It's named after that.
Oh, okay.
It's named after that. So there's a company called Stan, and it's made for influencers and their stands. It's like a link in bio tool, but it's like a digital store. So like link in bio tool is basically just like a bunch of links. This one you could host your digital assets. You could, set up payments and email marketing, whatever. They do a really cool video campaign. I think you should check it out. They do a documentary series about their customers. Their customers are influencers. So for example, like JT Barnett is one of their customers.
Okay.
So they hired this guy who's an in-house creator for them, and he does documentary style video. So he goes to the creators. He flew out and saw JT. He flew out and saw my one buddy, Gannon, who lives in Jersey. I was talking to him about it. And he films a documentary about their day. And I thought that was really cool content. I don't know what your thoughts are on documentary style content, but I think that could be a really good angle.
I really enjoyed, I was talking to Dave about this, your video with Alina at Chili Piper, right? And I think that one of the biggest gaps in B2B versus B2C content is the humanizing, right? I think everyone in B2B wants to be seen as a thought leader or a subject matter expert, the knowledge content you're talking about, right? And it's credibility, value, right? And there's less of that human side. And I think that coming from a sales background is, a lot of folks that I would talk to, obviously they wouldn't base their whole buying decision off of it, right? But a lot of times it's, most products nowadays, especially with AI, you're not differentiating on the product side that much anymore, right? So where you really differentiate is on one, brand, and two, the sales experience, or the experience working with the company pre and post sale, right? And a lot of that comes from, the human brand content or the human experience of talking with the sales rep, working with the team. And I think that we've under-indexed on that piece from a content standpoint, B2B.
Yeah, I do think it's something. I think if you look back to going back to clothing, but it's like a lot of clothing brands, they use the same suppliers.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you're buying the brand, and like I'm a big brand guy. Like I love supporting brands that I like. If it's founders that, like we talked about Marcus Maloney, like I like his content. I like what he stands for, or Nick Bear. I like their values. If I want to buy a supplement, I'd rather go support him because I like what he puts out.
Yeah. And when you're ready to buy in B2B, you're not ready to buy 99% of the time. But when you are ready to buy, if you like that person, they make great founder-led content. You know them organically, or you know them just through the content that they're producing, whether it's raw or value-first content. When you're ready to buy, you'll support them.
Yeah, I think that's why I like the build in public content so much, because people are like rooting for you, like I love consuming that content too. All my entire time, like I told Jake, like all the guys that I follow on social media, like on YouTube, they're all entrepreneurs that are building something, and I love building public. I like to consume it, and so I like root for them, and I want folks to feel the same with me. It's like, oh, I want to root for Vin because he's putting himself out there, and when we want to do influencer marketing, we're going to talk to Vin.
Yeah, I mean that's going back to like the content I'm excited for. Ask you both, like what I think for you it's that build in public kind of content, because it gets people bought in. For Ding, it's the spectacle content. We're having Mason join us more full time this spring, and we're going to have him film more like vlog style content, or just documenting content and create more of the story of EventShark. I think we put out a lot of content, just like spectacle stuff, like music videos, but more.
Which you guys are amazing at, by the way.
Thank you, sir. But more content of like how we're actually thinking about the business, and we've been putting out a little bit of content about that, but it's not by any means like what we're not doing a building public content like you are doing with breaking down your expenses and stuff. But that stuff's sweet.
Yeah. So Jake, we need two things. We need the solo Jay Claire song, B2B Jake.
That's right.
Single.
B2B Jake coming out.
Yeah.
You got to do guess who's Bizak? That beat, B2B Jake. It's like an old '90s beat. Or what's the Eminem one? That's like Shady's back.
Guess who's back? The Without Me?
Back again.
B2B Jake.
You gotta do B2B Jake, come back.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn.
Hey.
All right, that's already.
I think there's an interesting thread here that Jake was touching on, is that then you have a very unique skill set as a creator, in that you're not only good behind the camera, good in front of the camera, you're good at doing both at the same time. That's always something I've struggled with, is I'm great behind a camera, I'm great in front of a camera. I can't do both at the same time. So, how did you develop that skill set?
I never thought of myself being like so good in either department, to be quite honest with you. But I just love making videos. Like, dude, me and my friends used to make the silliest videos as kids. Like, we would make like music videos all the time. Luckily enough, in my middle school, we actually had a video production class. So I was learning how to use a camera, and we made commercials. I made a commercial for Monster in like the 6th grade, Monster energy drinks.
Talk about ICP, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we were always making videos, and I got exposed to videos at a really, really young age, which was really cool. And then in high school, it was called media. We had a media class in high school, and it was very popular in my high school. Everyone took it. You learn the basics of everything. And this one, you're actually filming. In middle school, they kind of had a teacher help with you and stuff. But in high school, like you actually filmed. You had assignments. So we did like news stories. We did music videos. We did a show. You had to create a show. And then we had fun projects, and it allowed you to be very creative. And me and my friends, we did a parody on at the time, like the Guidos were popular, like Jersey Shore. So we came up with this movie. We had to do a movie. That was our final. At the end of the year, you had to create a movie. Our movie, or a short film, I should say. And our movie was called Goons to Guidos. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I can send
I've seen it.
It's funny as hell, but it is so stupid. It's about nerds becoming Guidos.
Yeah.
And like it's stupid, but like that's fun. Like that.
Yeah.
I was so excited to go to school, literally, because I was like, yo, we're filming today. I'm so excited for this. And like me and my friends would just crack up. Apes, who I was telling you about, you'll meet him. He's the guy in the video with me. But so I was always doing that. I thought I'd work for like a news station and do video production because I was interested in it. And then I saw that it wasn't the most fruitful career.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll get into sales. 'Cause I want to make money. So then I'm making content. Like for a long time, I did not. Throughout college, I didn't make any content at all, like zero content. And then it wasn't until like after college, a few years after, where I started dipping back into video, and I felt like a rookie again. Like pretty much forgot everything. And it's still a journey. Like I'm still learning, and it's just reps, dude. To answer your question, like how do you get good at behind and in front of the camera? It's just reps.
Yeah.
Reps. Your first videos are going to be bad, probably. Your first rap song might be bad. Wow. You know, you just need reps.
But you did shoot the B2B to me demand-based video.
I did.
So Dink, Vin shot that, and
nice.
I could tell that you knew how to operate. Like you had the shots, you know what you're doing.
I had some of the basics down.
You had the basics.
Yeah, I had some of the basics down. Yeah, I was the executive producer.
That's right.
I guess is what you might call
DBTV, man.
DBTV.
Shout out.
Shout out DBTV. Yeah, that was fun. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And all of you, I mean, did you get into video? Were you doing that as a kid as well?
So I'm pretty much messing with video equipment my whole life. My parents were both really into it. Mm-hmm. So like growing up, I had access to, like decent gear. And then middle school had a class. Like high school, the yearbook club was really a video club. Mm. So I did a lot of, and I was trying to be a YouTuber from when I was 14 to, I mean, I guess I still am, but
aren't we all?
But so I had a lot of experience, and I rapped, right? So a part of that was putting out content and doing videos, doing music videos. So I did it, maybe not with pure intentions. I was trying to monetize and capitalize on that. But pretty much my whole life before I quit music for the first time in 2018. But then even like throughout college, I took a lot of film classes, and that definitely helped. Like just studying the classic auteurs. I still want to do a Dolly zoom, a Hitchcock zoom in a B2B video. I think it'd be kind of sick. And I know with Jake, it's similar, right? Like I think we all had the experience of growing up making.
I think we're all in the same boat here.
Yeah.
And we are running up on time, so I want to give us time to potentially have some final closing thoughts. All right, so thanks, Vin, for coming by the pod.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Where can people find you?
People can find me everywhere. I'm trying to be active everywhere. LinkedIn probably is the most popular place. Vin Matano.
Are you on Redbook yet?
Red Note.
Red Note.
I'm not. Yet? No. I refuse to be on Red Note. I don't need any more short form video apps, or else my brain will literally short circuit. I think.
All right. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Comment, subscribe, go follow Vin.